Game time is here. Off season is finally over. Everyone's starting to play tournaments again. Spring is just around the corner. So exciting. I'm getting a lot of questions about a pitcher's pregame warm-up, what it should look like, how long it should be, those sorts of things. So I thought this would be a great time to talk about it. The pregame warm-up. I'm going to give you 3 things that mentally you better be doing before you step onto the field that are executed in your warm-up to get your brain ready for game mode. It's not just about throwing your pitches. It is in that you have to get your body warmed up, but it is completely different than a bullpen or a lesson or even just throwing to live hitters in practice. It's a whole different level, right? So mentally, your focus needs to be a big part of your warm-up. So let's get into it. The first thing that mentally you should be warming up is your pace, just kind of how you move to things, whether it's the next pitch, the next rep, maybe you're doing just like a few drills in your warm-up. Be thinking about that. Be very conscious of that. That's a big thing for a pitcher in a game. That's one thing that you have 100% control over in a game is your pace between pitches. Do you necessarily have control over what happens after you let go of the ball? You do not. So if you can get your brain focused on what you do have control over, you're already setting yourself up for success in that game. Your pace is one of them. I see pitchers every day that rush, that they kind of move off the batter, off the hitter, off their coach, giving them signals. That is not what your pregame should be about. It should not be about rushing through things, no matter how much time you have to warm up. So think of it as you're getting your body warm. So maybe you're running poles or doing some leg swings or dynamic warm up. Be thinking about your pace between those things and continue that as you move into the bullpen, as you start throwing with your catcher overhand. Pace, pace, pace. Breathe between every single thing you're doing. Start making that just a given. And it starts the second you walk on the field, especially if you know that you are throwing that game. I wish somebody told me that. Oh my gosh. I would try to find my pace the first inning. If you're starting this stuff the first inning, you're already a step behind. You do not want to be the pitcher that needs 2 innings to find their groove or find their rhythm. You want to be the pitcher that is on the second you step on the mound. That's how you get there. The second thing that your warm-up needs to have, as far as a mental warm-up goes, is your focus. This can go along hand in hand with your pace. A lot of times, as you practice and are purposeful in finding your pace and making sure you're being methodical about things, that focus tends to hone in. But if you are just running through a warm-up as fast as possible, goofing around, thinking about things that maybe happened the game before, or maybe you're thinking about things that are worrying you. What if I mess up? What if I make a mistake? What if I get pulled? To me, you can just put all of those in one little category as distractions. You have to get your mind right. And all that matters is the next pitch that you're going to throw. So as you're working on your pace and being very purposeful with that, practice focusing on the next task at hand, the next pitch, the next rep. That's the only thing that matters in that moment. So get that focus under control as you're going through your warm-up. As far as physically, I do want to talk about that a little bit. Your warm-up is not about perfection. I used to warm up so much because I thought I had to be perfect before I could step into the game. That makes no sense, none at all. You could throw all day and never be perfect. You need to stick to around 15 minutes, I would say, sometimes 10, depending on the pitcher. What you need to practice more than anything when you are warming up is game-like situations. So don't go out there and throw a million drop balls, a million rise balls until it's perfect, right? Throw a handful until they're warm and they feel pretty good. Kind of think as warming up your pitches like a stretch. You're kind of stretching out the pitching motion a little bit, making sure it feels good. Blood is pumping and I'm moving quick the way I need to be ready to be super intense when it's time to hit the game. What really matters physically is that you can move from one pitch to the next when you need to. The transitions are what matters in a game. Being purposeful, having a plan when you're facing every hitter that you face. You can't just get up there and go through the motions. The pitchers that do are not going to be as successful as the pitchers that have a purpose. So be able to transition. You're only getting your pitches warm to be ready for that. That's what matters in a game. Mentally, my final thing, my third and final thing, is to practice acceptance. This can sound kind of weird for athletes, but in a game, you have to accept what just happened, whether it's good or it's bad. And you can start that in your warm-up. So when you're throwing, you're practicing your transitions, even when you're just throwing your kind of chunks of pitches to get warmed up, when you miss, not if, but when, practice, accept, like, okay, I just missed. Now I'm going to do A, B, and C, whatever that is. You can't be pushing that away. You can't be like, oh my gosh, my changeup is off. Here we go again. Let's see what happens now. This is not going to be on. I'm not going to have this pitch. That is just freak out mode, panic mode, not where you need to be as a pitcher before you step on the mound. Accepting what just happened. A lot of athletes see that as almost like accepting a mediocre performance, if that makes sense. That's not what you're doing. After the game is when it's time to kind of evaluate what happened and figure out a new plan for practice preparation the next week. During the game, there's not one dang thing you can do about what just happened except accept it and move on. The athletes that have a hard time getting over their mistakes have a hard time accepting mistakes. So we'll go over them one more time. The 3 major mental things you need to be working on and warming up before a game as a pitcher: pace, focus, acceptance. Be working on those. Be working on them as much as possible. They come easier the more you practice it, just like anything. So I hope that makes sense. Feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer questions or help wherever I can. I'm Coach Nick. Check out Be Complete on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Be Complete Athletics. And you can follow me on Instagram also, Coach Nick Dennis. All right. We'll talk to you later. Bye.